What if I told you there is a way to get another stimulus check, or what some states are calling a relief check? Or better yet, what if I told you there is a way to get your credit card debt, medical debt, and student debt forgiven? I bet you're wanting to know a little bit more, right? Well, I'm glad I got your attention. Let me explain why this might not be the best thing for you. Now, here's what most people don't know. Did you know that loan forgiveness, okay, whether it's a tax, it's a debt, okay, it's a student loan, doesn't matter, loan forgiveness is taxable. Now, people in California, they're starting to figure this out as well, because as of right now, the state of California is trying to figure out whether or not those middle class tax refund checks that they issued are those taxable as income under federal tax purposes. That's a big issue because they didn't know that in the beginning. Now, this is a real problem. Most people don't realize that getting a relief check from their state could actually count against you on a federal level as additional income, which means you have to pay taxes. You have to count that. Now, every person that I've asked over the past week have all said the same thing. They didn't realize getting a debt forgiven is counted as income, and it is. And a lot of people got debts forgiven last year. Now, I do want to be very clear on one thing though, and that is the student loan forgiveness program under the Biden administration. And the reason why I want to be very clear on this is because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. Okay, if student loan debt is forgiven of up to $10,000, does that mean I personally am going to have to show an additional $10,000 of income? Because how am I supposed to pay taxes on that? Well, here's what you need to know. That's not a problem. There was actually a provision in the American Rescue Plan, which was passed a year prior to President Biden even announcing his student loan forgiveness plan. So because of that provision in the American Rescue Plan, there would be no taxable event if you get any type of student loan forgiven under the Biden administration's plan. So all other forms, yes, you would have to pay taxes. Now, I want to read you a couple emails. Here are 2 emails I received over the past couple of weeks. The first one, she says, and I quote, "Great news. I got a letter in the mail saying that my Capital One credit card balance has been forgiven. And thank God. I can barely afford my rent payment each month, so this is a godsend." Nah, not so fast. Having credit card debt forgiven is counted as income. So and again, she doesn't say how much she got forgiven, but let's say she got $2,500 forgiven, she would then have to pay taxes on $2,500. And hopefully she wouldn't have to pay anything. Hopefully she'd actually get some money back. But again, if you have to count an additional $2,500 of income, that means you're probably going to get less money back. And here's another email that I received. She says, and I quote, "Adam, thanks for helping me out with my credit report. I was able to improve my score by 21 points. Oh, and by the way, my clinic must have had some sympathy for me. They canceled $964.86 that I owed them from more than a year ago. I'm glad too. This has been so close to going to collection time and time again. Again, thanks." Now, I did help this person out. No, I don't do a lot of coaching, and I'm not a financial expert or anything, but I did help this one person out, just clear up a few things on her credit report that she said she was having. So, good news. She increased her credit score by 71 points. Hopefully that helps with in the future if she gets another loan. But they canceled $960. Okay, what do you think? Good news? Bad news? Well, to me, I was a little concerned. And here's the reason why. I was a little concerned because this was forgiven right at the end of 2022, right at the end of last year. So now in 2023, she's going to have to count $960 towards her income. And I know she didn't make a lot of money. Okay, I know she didn't make a lot of money. It was I believe it was under $10,000 that she made last year. but now she's potentially going to have to claim $960, right? Here's the problem. 92% of Americans have some type of debt. Could be credit card debt, could be an auto loan, mortgage debt, tax debt, student debt, medical, whatever, right? They have some type of debt. Now, if any amount is forgiven, you will be responsible for that amount as a taxable income. Now, I want you to really understand what could be coming. And here's what I know, okay? Back in 2008, during the financial crisis, big banks band together, okay, to get Congress to allow up to 40% credit card forgiveness, okay? Now, if you think about this for a second, okay, why would they even do this? Well, the reason why banks are willing to do this is because they would lose less money, okay? Think about this. Let's say somebody has, and again, just for the sake of, I'm not great at math, but let's say somebody has $10,000 in as a credit card balance, and they're struggling to make payments, right? Well, if the bank decides to forgive 40%, the bank would lose $4,000, right? Now, keep in mind, let's say it's a $10,000 balance. It doesn't mean that the person charged $10,000 on it. They could have charged $8,500, but they're just struggling to pay it, right? And so they tack on interest and fees and then all this stuff, and then now it's a $10,000 credit card balance. So let's say that it's a $10,000 balance, they forgive 40%, so they just lost technically $4,000. That's just tough for the bank to swallow, right? It's going to be very difficult. But in tough times, you cut your losses where you can. But let's say the bank doesn't go that route and decides, you know what? It's a tough economy. This person lost their job. We should probably do something to help because we might lose a lot of money. Why? What if you sell to a debt collection agency? Well, a debt collection agency pays around 4% on average of the original debt amount. So in this case, let's say it's a $10,000 debt. That would be $400. They're going to pay you $400. Okay? That's all the banks can get, $400 for a $10,000 debt. Now, with the expectation that the U.S. is headed towards a recession and possibly even a depression, do you see why lenders would be willing to forgive somebody's debt? But at the same time, this puts that financial burden on you. And this is why I want you to be well aware of what could be coming in 2023. If we are headed towards a recession or potentially a depression, we could see banks come out if people are just missing payments. And keep in mind, this may not impact you today. Okay, it could if you got a debt forgiven in 2022. But if you get a debt forgiven in 2023, guess what? You will be on the hook to pay that because that will be counted as income. All right? So this is what's going to screw over millions and millions of Americans, but maybe not this year. Potentially you're going to wait till next year. But 294 million people don't know what is coming. This could come this coming year. So this would mean more financial trouble for all of us if we can't pay our debts and then we have to pay taxes on the forgiven amount. Again, the IRS is not going to care what happened. They aren't going to care if you had tough times. The IRS is going to want their money. And if the IRS still is using part of that $80 billion that the Biden administration was able to get for them, guess what? The IRS is going to come after every single one of us that gets any debt forgiven. So keep that in mind. Also share this video with your friends and family so they too know what could potentially happen to them this year or even next year. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.